Hello, and welcome to the Sheri Kaye Hoff Show, the show for living joyfully in your life and business. I'm Sheri Kaye Hoff, and I am so excited about my guest here today. I do want to let you know that you can get some free gifts from me by going to sherikayhoff.com. That's SherikayehOff.com. So let me tell you about our guest. She has quite the story. And, we talk about living joyfully. And one of the things that really impacts us is how we feel about ourselves. So let me tell you about my wonderful guest here. Devastated with acne that was considered incurable in her late 20s, Dr. Stacy Shillington, ND, went back to school to learn how to clear her skin from the inside out using naturopathic medicine and has not looked back since. Practicing in Toronto since 2007, Dr. Stacy has made it her mission to help people clear their skin naturally. Deeply inspired and motivated to change the way that skincare and health is approached, Dr. Stacy has been able to help thousands of women worldwide clear their acne with her best-selling 7-week Clear Skin program, which is delivered online. You can follow her on Instagram at Naturopathic Beauty or check out her website, naturopathicbeauty.com. So welcome, Stacy. I'm so excited you're here today. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me, Sheri. It's a pleasure. I'm so excited to share all this information.
Yeah, I love people definitely need to check out your Instagram because your videos are so inspiring. And, I'm kind of past that stage of suffering with acne, but I have, one of my daughters really struggles. And I remember that struggle, in my 20s, my 30s, and even a little bit into my 40s, wondering, isn't this supposed to be done yet? And I tried everything. I didn't try Accutane, but I tried pretty much everything. So when you first meet people, what do you see are the most common mistakes that people make when they're trying to obtain clear skin?
Oh, that's such a great question. And, overwhelmingly, and it has to do with how we're conditioned in our society to think about our skin. We think because our skin is an external facing organ, we need to treat it externally. And I think the biggest mistake I see people, and especially women, because let's face it, skincare products are marketed towards us. I see women focusing on topical care as the primary way to heal their skin, to make it glow, to get rid of their acne, to fight the signs of aging, when in fact, 90% of the aging process, 90% of our skin health is determined by our diet and our lifestyle. So really switching the entire paradigm of how we look at our skin, it's more of an internal process than an external treatment.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to inflammation, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Inflammation is kind of like the underlying thread that really leads to a lot of disruption in the skin. It's what triggers acne, and it's what triggers aging as well. So being able to quench that inflammation and to address the root causes of that inflammation is really the key to beautiful skin throughout your entire life, whether you have acne or not. That's where you want to focus if you really want to have that glowing, beautiful skin.
Yeah, I noticed like in my own life, when I look back on my journey, that, had I known about the gluten-free, dairy-free approach, that would have been life-changing for me back then because, just recently I've gone gluten-free and dairy-free just as an experiment to see if it would affect my seasonal allergies in a positive way. And I feel so much better. So I think I definitely was, was probably one of those people my whole life. Like I had ear infections and strep throat all the time. I probably had that gluten and dairy sensitivity. And, of course, my mom had no idea. I had no idea. And so I'm just excited about the mission that you have in the world. So if you could say one thing for people to either stop doing or start doing, what would that be that would make the most dramatic difference right away?
So, diet is the foundation of our health. Diet is the foundation of our beauty. So definitely I would advise people to start with a diet. Number one, and as you've just mentioned, removing foods that trigger inflammation in our body. I mean, if we're constantly triggering the inflammation, it's like we're always putting fuel on a fire, right? So by removing those foods that create inflammation in our body, it just kind of gives our body the space to heal because we're no longer constantly feeding the inflammation. We're able to heal the body and bring it back to a place of homeostasis. So like you said, dairy and gluten are definitely inflammation triggers. And the other one that we have to be really careful about is sugar. Sugar is like, it's just pure inflammation. So I mean, if you can cut those three foods out of your diet, you are going to see a massive difference right away. And not only that, but as you've experienced, you're going to feel a difference as well. You're going to have more energy. You're going to eliminate some brain fog. You're just going to everything's going to feel better. And then on top of that, you want to, of course, increase fruits and vegetables. And making those two changes really will up level not only your skin, but also your entire body.
Yeah. So it seems like to me, and maybe I'm totally off here, but it didn't seem that hard to do gluten-free and dairy-free. Well, not compared to maybe 5-10 years ago, because there's so much awareness, but it's really difficult to eliminate sugar because it's everywhere. So, I mean, you think, it's in ketchup, so what are some easy ways that people can cut down the sugar in their diet, especially, and maybe the easiest ways, because we all know, like candy and stuff like that, we know, okay, that's obvious, but what's another way?
Oh, yeah, Sheri, that's such a great point because sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So that's one of the main reasons why it's so difficult to give up sugar, because our body is craving it. And there's neurotransmitters in our brain that are driving us to consume sugar. So, I mean, when you start adopting a whole foods diet, you're going to eliminate any processed sugars. And really, it has to be because there's such an addictive dopamine element to sugar consumption. It kind of has to be a cold turkey deal where you cut out the sugar and it's really tough for a few days, but it allows your body to go through that detoxification, period, and also allows your taste buds to kind of recalibrate. Because when we're used to eating a lot of sugar, a lot of the sweet sensors on our tongue, there's a lot of them there. So that in itself makes us want more and more sugar. So by, going cold turkey and just cutting the sugar out and preparing ourselves for a few days of really missing the sugar is probably the best way to get over our sugar addiction, get over just our reliance on sugar and our love of sugar, because we love sugar, right? And it's a problem because it affects every single organ system in our body negatively.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, that's my next hurdle. That's my next thing that I'm going to do. I promise everybody who's listening, that's my next thing to work on. There's always something to work on, but
yeah,
I do find, oh, go ahead.
There are a few tips though. So when you do give up sugar, there's a few things that just kind of help curb those sugar cravings. And one of them is to eat a fermented food. So if you are craving sugar and you eat a pickle, that's going to quench your sugar cravings right away. So that's a really good tip to have on hand. Another one is there's a supplement called glutamine. And it's like a little powder, and you can mix it in water. And whenever you have a really bad sugar craving, you can actually just swish some glutamine around in your mouth. And that as well will kill the sugar craving. So there's a few little tips like that to really help you transition off the sugar.
Wow, I really love that. So is there anything that people can have at Starbucks that isn't full of sugar?
Oh yeah, Starbucks. That was a big thing for me when I went off sugar completely. And now this may sound completely boring to so many of you, but when I go to Starbucks, I like have a peppermint tea. That's what I do. And, and it's not as, for me, it's completely satisfying at this point. But when I stopped going to Starbucks and drinking those creamy drinks, it was definitely a bit of a transition, but you just feel so much better that you never want to go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I really do enjoy the iced green tea. And I know that has caffeine, which is also inflammatory, but it's probably less worse than other things.
Oh, and you know what? The iced green tea is actually a really good option because, the green tea has something called L-theanine in it. And that's actually very calming to the body. So that's actually a great selection.
Oh, good. That's good to know. So there's something I can have there. I think it's the habit. Like I don't really have terrible habits. And so, it's like, I think just go, and I work from home. So just going to Starbucks is like an event for me and like a pampering thing. Like I don't smoke. I don't really drink. I mean, I enjoy wine here or there. And so it's kind of like my thing of spoiling myself. And so it's nice to know that you can still have stuff to spoil yourself with there. Cause it's more the experience. I can make green tea at home, but it's the experience of going there. So I wonder if they'll give me a sponsorship for talking about but I know Starbucks is just like a habit for so many people. So that's why I brought it up. So, and I think when it comes to eliminating things, I really like years ago, not even from the standpoint of dairy being inflammatory, but just, if you look at it's got fat in it. And so and can be calorie laden. And so there were times in my life where I really tried to reduce cheese. And I, grew up in northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, dairy areas. And I just couldn't imagine my life without cheese. And I don't miss it at all. Like I tried like the substitute cheese and I couldn't stand it at all, but I don't really miss it. I thought I would miss it. And my husband brought home a greasy, yummy looking pepperoni and sausage pizza. And he's like, I brought this home for you. And I'm like, well, there's nothing on it I can have, but okay. But I didn't. And I kind of looked at it and I go, I'm a little sad. And I had some turkey, but I really wasn't that sad. So it's been over 30 days. So I think it really turned the corner. So, we're just kind of sharing that, any change that people make, it seems like it's going to be a big deal, but we certainly can do it. And I feel like if I can cut out cheese, anybody could do it because I loved that, cheesy, melty, I think the mouthfeel of it. So, okay. So what else when it comes to clear skin? What else is important?
Oh, so there's 4 different pillars that I really work with my patients to help them just kind of address acne from the inside out. Number 1 is gut health. There is such a strong connection between the gut and the skin, and that connection is the microbiome. And the microbiome is a community of trillions of cells, of microbes, and there's pathogenic microbes, there's beneficial microbes, and they exist in balance. And when the microbiome is not in balance, there's going to be inflammation. There's going to be inflammation in the gut. There's going to be inflammation in the skin. So it's always important to heal your gut. And this is something you really want to pay attention to. If you experience bloating, if you experience constipation, diarrhea, any type of digestive discomfort, You have to address that in order to get that clear, glowing, beautiful skin that we all desire. And for our, not just our skin, of course, but for the health of our entire body. So gut health is one thing that I always look at. Another thing that I look at is insulin levels. Insulin dysregulation is a really big deal with women that suffer with acne. And the reason being is that high insulin levels lead to high levels of a hormone called, androgenic hormones. So testosterone, DHEAS. And these are the hormones that actually cause acne. So balancing insulin levels, balancing blood sugar levels, healing the metabolism is another key part of attaining clear skin. And this comes with, the simplest way to address insulin levels is to cut out sugar and to eat 3 balanced meals a day. I mean, it's not complicated stuff. It's just, if you start doing those 2 things, that alone is going to help balance your insulin levels.
Wow. So if we look at, you have your 7-week clear skin program, but you also have an anti-aging program. So, which, who isn't interested in aging beautifully, right? So how can people do that?
Oh, so, when it comes to aging beautifully, a lot of the things that I teach in my clear skin program, I teach in my Aging Beautifully program as well. It's all about reducing inflammation in the body. Again, it's about balancing insulin levels and definitely cutting out sugars, because when we have too many sugars in our body, there's a process that happens. It's called glycation. And glycation is basically the proteins become very, very stiff. And this primarily happens in the skin. So the leading cause of wrinkles and fine lines is due to glycation, which is due to sugar consumption. So, that's a really big deal. Balancing the blood sugars there. Another thing that I really focus on for both my acne patients and my aging patients is helping your body detoxify optimally. We are exposed to so many toxins in our environment. And not only that, but if we have hormonal imbalances as well, that's going to affect our ability to detoxify. So, really supporting the organs of detoxification, supporting the liver, supporting the lymph, that's really important as well.
So one thing that I find really remarkable is the high rate of success that you have, because the information that you have, I mean, you've spent years developing, but people can go out and they can find an article about sugar or whatever. So what is the difference when people go through your program? And I mean, I think your success rate is like over 90% with the Clear Skin program. And that's just stunning. I don't know of anything else that's that successful and natural. So what makes it so successful?
Well, so when people, they're on the internet and they find like these dietary tips, okay, this is going to clear my skin. They put it into action and their skin is still not clearing. That's a very common thing to have happen. Diet is the foundation of clear skin, but it's not going to help everybody heal their acne. What you need to do on top of a very solid diet is you also need to support the different organs in the body. You need to support the gut healing. You need to support the liver. You need to support insulin. And you also need to support stress levels. So it's kind of like a multi-pronged approach. And when those systems are supported along with the implementation of a healthy diet, that's when the magic happens. So, it's just putting everything together and really healing the body holistically, because all the different organs in the body communicate with each other. They all affect one another. And that's what we really need to capitalize on. And that's what we really need to, affect in order to have great success levels.
I just think it's so remarkable. And if you go to Stacey's website, the testimonials are just stunning. And it's so authentic and so real and so moving, because when people start feeling good about their skin, it changes really everything. So how can people find you? What's the best way for them to connect with you, or a starting point for, kind of following the road?
So you can check out my Instagram at naturopathic beauty. That's where I put a lot of my information. I share a lot of tips on there. Also check out my website, naturopathicbeauty.com. That gives you information on my different programs and my different offerings. So yeah, those are the best places to find me. I also have lots of videos on YouTube if you want to learn a little bit more about what I teach.
Yeah. And you also have a masterclass, and we're going to post the link for the masterclass. And again, it's so full of information that people will leave with something to be able to do to impact their health. So where can they find that masterclass?
So if you can go to either my website at naturopathicbeauty.com, and there's like a little pop-up screen that'll pop up inviting you to register for my masterclass. You can go there, or you can go to my Instagram, and in the link in my bio, there's a link to the masterclass there as well.
Yeah, well, I highly recommend that people do that. I did have one more question that we didn't really talk about yet, and that is stress. So what is the impact of stress on people's skin?
Oh, you know what? I think it's probably the most under-addressed skin, cause of skin issues is stress, because what stress does is it increases cortisol levels in our body. And cortisol is going to affect so many different hormones. It's going to spike our insulin levels. It's going to actually reduce progesterone levels. It's going to increase high DHEAS levels. It's going to affect estrogen levels. Cortisol is probably the number one driver of hormonal imbalance in women. And that is why, addressing how we manage stress is so critical. It's such a big part of healing the body and healing the skin as well, for both acne and for aging. I think there was a study done, and women, or I think it was not done on women, it was done on both men and women, but people that were exposed to high levels of stress actually looked 10 years older than their actual age. That's how much of an impact stress has on how we look and feel.
Yeah, I think that's just so important for people to note, because your body's telling you something, that you need to be switching something around. So what is one takeaway from today? We've talked about a lot of different things when it comes to skin health and holistic health, but what is the one thing that you want people to leave here with, the one big idea, or two?
One big idea: skin health, beauty, it all comes from within. 90% of the aging process is governed by diet and lifestyle. I really want to impress that upon people, because we tend to look externally for ways to heal our skin. And, that is not the way to get real results. We have to heal our bodies from within. And the number one tip that I will share with everybody is to quit sugar.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So thank you so much, Stacey, for sharing with everyone today. And I encourage everyone to check out her website, because, no matter what stage you're in, if you're looking to heal acne, or if you're looking to, I said anti-aging, but I like your take on it, aging beautifully, because, we don't need to really be anti anything, right?
Right. And we are going to age. So, we can't stop it.
Exactly. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a fantastic day. I love you. And we will talk again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.